I love, just not you, Millionaire said. 5 years later, he saw her again, holding his twins. Imagine trusting someone with your whole heart, only to have him walk away when you need him most. She was left alone, carrying a secret, a child that could change everything. Years later, he returns, but the past isn't done with them yet. Tonight, love, betrayal, and danger collide in a fight for family, trust, and survival. Hey, beautiful souls, I am your storyteller, James. Welcome to this journey of heartbreak, suspense, and redemption. Stay close, because every moment of this story will grip your heart and keep you on the edge of your seat. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Let's dive in together. Chloe stood at the floor-to-ceiling window, her fingers lightly touching the cold glass, tracing the glittering lights of the city below. Her heart beat with a soft, nervous rhythm, one she tried to steady with slow breaths. Tonight mattered. Tonight, her truth mattered. Behind her, the penthouse hummed with quiet luxury, marble floors, chrome fixtures, art pieces that felt more expensive than warm. Alex's world was polished, perfect, and emotionally distant, a museum where feelings were displayed only if they could be controlled. Chloe had always been the outlier in this space, the only splash of vibrant warmth in a monochrome life. She placed a hand over her abdomen, a tender instinct she had repeated 1,000 times over the past weeks. A new heartbeat pulsed quietly inside her. Two futures, though she did not yet know that. She only knew she couldn't hide the truth anymore. Footsteps approached, measured, confident, each step announcing a man accustomed to dominance. Alex Thorne entered the room with the same commanding aura that could silence a boardroom. His tailored suit was precise, his expression unreadable, his presence sharp. "You wanted to talk," he said, loosening the cuffs of his shirt, as if preparing for a negotiation rather than a personal moment. His tone was calm, too calm. Chloe's stomach tightened. "Yes," she replied, turning toward him. Her voice trembled just slightly, enough that she swallowed to steady it. "I need to tell you something important." Alex didn't sit. He didn't soften. He simply watched her with those cool blue eyes that once made her feel chosen, but now made her feel examined. "Before you do," he interrupted, "I should speak first." Something inside her sank. She nodded, though every part of her braced. Alex exhaled, a quiet, controlled release, as though what he was about to say required discipline, not heart. "Chloe," he began, "you are extraordinary." He said the words with precision, not affection. "You're talented, kind, good for me in a way, but I've realized something important." She forced a hopeful smile. "Realized what?" Alex's eyes didn't flicker. Not with regret, not with conflict. Just clarity. "I don't love you," he said plainly. "I love the idea of you, the version of you that fits into my life without disrupting it. But the reality, the emotions, the need, it's distracting, and I can't afford distractions right now." Chloe's breath froze. Her heartbeat felt like it shattered against her ribs. The room suddenly felt colder, as if the penthouse itself rejected her. She blinked, trying desperately to keep her composure. To not break, not here, not in front of the man who had once made her feel safe. Her throat tightened, but she held the tears back, refusing to let them fall. "So, you're ending this," she whispered. Her voice didn't crack. She wouldn't give him that. She stood straighter even as her world tilted. Alex nodded, almost relieved to have said it aloud. "It's for the best. You deserve someone who's emotional. I'm not that man, Chloe. I don't want to pretend anymore." Pretend. The word cut deeper than the rejection. Had their entire love been a role he played out of convenience? She pressed a hand to her stomach, a subtle instinct he didn't notice. Her child, their child, fluttered within her, reminding her she couldn't break down here. Not now. "I see," she said softly, pushing strength into each syllable. Thank you for your honesty, Alex. The words tasted like blood and dignity. She stepped toward the door. Each movement felt heavier, as if the gravity in the room had shifted to pull her back. But she didn't stop. Her heels clicked sharply against the marble, each step an act of defiance, of survival. Alex watched her without reaching for her, without regret, without emotion. But inside, Chloe trembled. She couldn't breathe once the elevator doors closed around her. Her hand pressed firmly against her abdomen, a pain shooting through her lower belly, sharp, sudden, alarming. She winced, grabbing the rail for support. Not now, she whispered under her breath. She inhaled, trying to steady herself. The elevator descended endlessly, each floor feeling further from the life she once imagined. Outside, the cold air hit her like a slap. She ducked into a cab, her breaths growing unsteady. Her vision blurred for a moment. She closed her eyes, pressing her head against the window. The pain struck again, stronger, too strong. A deep, wrenching twist inside her that stole her breath. By the time she reached her apartment, she was shaking. She barely reached the couch before the next wave of pain clawed through her abdomen. Her hands trembled, her face paled, her breathing became ragged. No, no, please, she whispered, curling over herself. She wasn't ready. She wasn't supposed to be alone for this. But she was. She always had been. She just didn't know it until tonight. Her phone slipped from her shaking hand and clattered to the floor. Tears burned her eyes, not from the heartbreak, but from fear. Real fear. Life-changing fear. She crawled toward the phone, each movement raw and desperate. Her fingers fumbled across the screen. She tried dialing the ambulance, but her vision blurred again. Her heart pounded erratically. Please, someone! Her whisper barely reached her own ears. Her body felt heavy, too heavy, as if sinking into the floor. A warm wetness spread beneath her. She looked down and saw blood. Her breath hitched, her entire world tilted. Her mind screamed, but no sound came out. Her phone buzzed faintly, an alarm she didn't remember setting. She reached again, but her fingers slipped, sliding across the floor. The ceiling shifted above her, spinning into a haze. Her heartbeat grew faint, distant, like echoes underwater. She thought of the small heartbeat inside her, the life she had planned to tell him about, the life he didn't even know existed. Darkness crept in from the edges of her vision, soft and smothering. She fought it, clawing for consciousness, for oxygen, for hope. Her lips parted, forming the only name her mind could cling to. Alex. Barely a whisper, barely a breath. Her body went limp. Silence filled the room. Seconds passed, minutes. Time dissolved into quiet devastation. Then, a door burst open. Footsteps rushed in, neighbors who heard something fall. Gasps filled the room as they saw her crumpled form. Oh my God, she's bleeding! Call the hospital, now! Voices warped into distant echoes. Hands lifted her, wrapped her, carried her. The world blurred into sirens and flashing lights. Chloe drifted through it like a ghost, tethered to fading reality. Inside the ambulance, paramedics worked urgently, their voices tense. She's losing too much blood. BP dropping fast. Prepare for emergency intervention. Chloe floated between consciousness and darkness, her breaths shallow. Her fingers twitched, reaching for something, anything. For someone. But Alex wasn't there. He didn't know. He didn't hear her last whispered plea. Her world dimmed completely as the ambulance doors slammed shut. The city lights disappeared behind her. Everything went quiet. As Chloe's heartbeat weakened on the stretcher, a nurse shouted into her headset, "We need to contact the father immediately. Somebody find his number. This woman might not survive." The doors to the emergency unit burst open as paramedics rushed Chloe inside. their voices sharp with urgency. The fluorescent lights above flickered across her pale face as she lay motionless on the stretcher, her body still, her breaths faint. A nurse ran beside them, pressing gauze against the bleeding, her gloved hands stained in red. "Get Dr. Yara now," a paramedic barked. Chloe's head rolled weakly to the side, her eyelids fluttering but not opening. A soft moan left her lips. Barely a sound, barely a breath, yet it pushed the team to move faster. Machines were rolled in, carts slammed into place. A curtain swished around her bed. Beeps filled the small square of space, rising, falling, warning. "She's crashing again. Push more fluids." "Her pressure isn't stabilizing." "Where is the surgeon?" In the chaos, a young nurse scanned through Chloe's phone, desperate to find the contact they needed. Her fingers shook as she scrolled through names she didn't recognize. No mom, no dad, no sister, no husband, just co-workers, delivery numbers, friends scattered across cities. No emergency contact. She swallowed hard, her throat tightening. This can't be right. Someone must. Then she saw a name. One name highlighted more than the others by dozens of unread messages. Alex Thorne. The nurse's breath hitched. The commanding tone from Chloe's stretcher echoed again. "Find the father." With trembling fingers, she tapped the number, pressing the phone to her ear. One ring, two, three. Across the city, far from the sharp smell of antiseptic and quiet terror, Alex stood in a glass boardroom, his posture sharp as steel. The merger presentation played on the massive LED screen behind him. Executives watched him, waiting for the final confirmation that would secure a historic deal. Alex's phone buzzed in his pocket. He ignored it. The call persisted, vibrating harder, more insistent. One of his investors cleared his throat. "Mr. Thorne, we need your signature to finalize the acquisition." Alex raised a hand, signaling patience. He slid the phone out with irritation. Unknown number. He frowned. The nurse's voice burst through the line before he could speak. "Is this Mr. Thorne? Alexander Thorne?" He straightened instinctively. "Yes. Who is this?" "This is Lakeview General Hospital. We have a patient named Chloe." His heart slammed against his ribs. The pen dropped from his fingers. "What happened to her?" The nurse took a breath. "Sir, she is in critical condition. She collapsed at home with heavy internal bleeding. We need you here immediately. We don't know if—" Alex's hand tightened around the phone. The room blurred around him, the faces of the executives melting into the background as something cold and terrifying swept through him. "Is she conscious?" he demanded. "No, sir. She's unresponsive. Her vitals are unstable." His pulse hammered in his ears. Each word from the nurse struck him like a blow. "We also need to discuss the unborn child," she added. His entire world stopped. Dead, motionless, frozen in a single breath. "What child?" His voice cracked, barely noticeable but real. Too real. The nurse paused, realizing he didn't know. "Sir, she's pregnant." The boardroom vanished. The merger disappeared. The empire he built meant nothing in that single heartbeat. Alex felt the air leave his lungs. His grip loosened, and the phone nearly slipped from his hand. His chest tightened painfully, a kind of shock he had never known, not in failure, not in loss, not in grief. A child, his child, his— "How far along?" he whispered, his voice suddenly hoarse. 6 months, sir, and the situation is very delicate." He didn't wait for more. The chair scraped back violently as he stormed from the room. "Alex," an investor called after him. But he was gone before the man finished. He sprinted through hallways like a man fleeing a burning building. His breath came fast, ragged, uneven. He slammed through the lobby doors, flagged down his driver with a wild urgency that shocked the man silent. "The hospital! Now! Don't stop for anything." The engine roared to life, and the city blurred into streaks of light as they sped through traffic. Alex sat rigidly in the back seat, his mind a storm of images. Chloe laughing, Chloe crying, Chloe walking away hours ago, trying to look strong even as her eyes glistened. He remembered every tremble she hid, every silence she swallowed. Was she already in pain then? Had he missed it, ignored it, caused it? His chest burned with self-loathing. "She tried to tell me," he whispered to himself. "God, she tried." Traffic snarled ahead. His driver swerved around horns and angry shouts, accelerating past red lights. "How bad is she?" he muttered, gripping the leather seat. "How bad?" Questions collided with guilt. Guilt collided with fear. Fear collided with something deeper, something raw he wasn't ready to name. When the car screeched to a stop outside the hospital, Alex was out before the wheels settled. He ran. People stared as he pushed through hallways, his suit rumpled, his eyes wild, his breath unsteady. His polished composure fractured with every step he took. At the emergency desk, a nurse looked up, startled. "Sir, Chloe," he gasped. "Chloe Bennett. Where is she?" Recognition passed through her face. "Follow me. Hurry." She led him down a narrow corridor where doctors hovered around a bed enclosed by curtains. Monitors beeped erratically. Medical staff rushed past him with equipment. The air felt suffocating. He reached the last curtain, his hand trembling as he pulled it back. Chloe lay on the bed, ghost pale, her lips colorless, her hair damp against her forehead. Tubes ran from her arms. Blood stained the sheets beneath her. It hit him like a physical blow. His breath shattered, his knees weakened. He reached her side, his trembling hand brushing her cold fingers. "Chloe." A whisper, a plea, a punishment. Her eyelids didn't flutter, her fingers didn't tighten. Her chest rose and fell only because the machine forced her body to keep going. He swallowed a broken sound, leaning closer. "I'm here," he whispered, as if she could hear, as if she could believe. "I'm here now, I'm not leaving." A doctor stepped in, voice urgent. "Mr. Thorne, we need to speak with you privately. The situation is worsening." Alex didn't move, couldn't move. His hand remained locked around hers, as if letting go would make her slip away completely. The doctor's expression grew heavier. "Sir, we don't know if we can save both of them." Alex's heart stopped. "What do you mean, both?" The doctor took a breath, preparing to explain the most devastating truth a man could hear. "Mr. Thorne," the doctor said quietly, "we may only have seconds to decide who we try to save first, Chloe or the child." The silence in the neonatal ICU is sharp enough to cut through Alex's breathing. He stands rooted to the cold floor, unable to move, unable to blink, afraid that even the smallest motion will shatter the fragile world holding his sons together. The machines hum their steady clinical song, soft beeps, tiny puffs of oxygen, the subtle whir of temperature regulators keeping their small bodies warm. He has seen boardrooms, billions, markets crashing and rising in seconds. He has stared down enemies, rivals, scandals. None of it, not even the weight of an empire, has ever felt as terrifying as these two incubators glowing under soft blue lights. Two tiny bodies, two tiny chests rising and falling with effort. Two pairs of blue eyes, his eyes, blinking through the transparent walls, separating them from his trembling hands. His breath breaks in his throat. He presses his palm against the glass, close but not touching them. It feels like a prayer. It feels like punishment. It feels like everything he never knew he was capable of losing. "Fight," he whispers, voice cracking. "Please, just fight." A nurse adjusts one of the wires on the smaller twin, her face calm but her movements urgent. Alex watches her, desperate for any sign, any hope, any reassurance. But the nurse only gives him a professional nod, polite, distant, cautious. He hates that nod. It means, "We don't know yet." It means, "Prepare yourself." Minutes pass like slow torture. Hours stretch into something shapeless and cruel. Alex stops checking his watch because time has become meaningless. Nothing in the world matters except those tiny hearts beating inside heated incubators. He doesn't even remember sitting down, but suddenly he's in a chair beside the glass wall, elbows on his knees, head lowered, hands clasped so tightly they burn. A single thought loops like a broken record. Don't take them away from me, too. He has already failed Chloe. He has already broken what they once had. He will not fail these babies. A doctor approaches, offering updates in words that feel heavy and distant, stabilized, oxygen levels fluctuating, still critical. Unpredictable night ahead. Alex nods, swallowing every piece of terror, forcing it down so he doesn't collapse on the floor. When the doctor leaves, he walks to the other end of the room, where a curtain hides a small recovery bed. Chloe lies motionless beneath thin blankets, her face pale but beautifully calm. She looks like she's dreaming, peaceful, weightless, unaware of all the storms that tried to swallow her whole. Alex reaches for her hand, hesitates, then finally lets his fingers trace the back of her palm, gentle, afraid, guilty. "I'm right here," he whispers, even though she cannot hear him. "I'm not leaving. Not again." Her lips do not move, her chest rises shallowly. The machines beside her offer quiet reassurance that she's still fighting her own battle. He studies her face, memorizing every line, every softness he once took for granted. He feels the burn behind his eyes, but he forces the tears back because he can't fall apart now, not while all three of them are fighting for breath. When the beeping of one of the infant's monitors sharpens, he flinches. Nurses rush past him. Someone calls for a respiratory specialist. His body goes cold. He can't even breathe as he watches them adjust tiny tubes and fragile wires. "Please," he mutters again, hating how small his voice sounds. "Please don't take them from her. Or from me." The minutes drag until one of the nurses gives him a gentle, hopeful look. He's stabilizing again. Alex's knees nearly buckle. He steps out of the room a moment later, not because he wants to, because his lungs refuse to keep up. He leans against the hall wall, head back, swallowing air like a drowning man. The hospital lights feel too bright, the hallway too long, the world too heavy. He runs a hand through his hair and lets the adrenaline tremble out of him. For a moment, there is silence, real, deep silence. Then he hears footsteps, soft, careful, almost nervous. A woman stands a few feet away, wrapped in a gray shawl, her eyes shadowed with something between fear and urgency. She watches him like someone who has rehearsed this moment, struggled with it, maybe regretted it, but came anyway. "Alex Monroe?" she asks quietly. He straightens instantly, suspicion dripping into his exhausted veins. "Yes. Who are you?" I I knew Chloe," she says, voice trembling at the edges. "Not closely, but close enough to know things you don't." His heartbeat thunders in his ears. He steps closer, but not too close. Cautious, wary. "What things?" The woman looks around nervously, as if afraid of being seen or heard in this empty hallway. About the pregnancy, about the complications, about why she disappeared, about what she was trying to protect. Alex stiffens. "Protect from what?" She doesn't answer. Instead, she shifts her shawl tighter, as though bracing herself against something invisible. "I shouldn't be here," she murmurs. "But after what happened today, I couldn't stay silent anymore." Alex feels his chest tighten. "Say it clearly. What do you know about Chloe?" Her eyes shine with something that looks like guilt. Fear. Maybe both. "More than you think," she whispers. "More than anyone has admitted." His breath stalls. "If you know something that endangered her or my sons, You tell me right now. She lifts her chin, gathering every ounce of courage left in her body. Alex, she says softly, those babies were never meant to make it into this world. The hallway freezes around him. What are you talking about? His voice drops to a dangerous whisper. The woman steps closer, lowering her voice until it trembles against the air between them. There were plans made, she says, decisions by people who didn't want them born. And Chloe, she wasn't just fighting for survival today. Alex's pulse pounds so violently he tastes blood. Who? He demands. Who planned what? The woman looks him straight in the eyes, her own filled with bleak truth. I can't tell you everything yet, she says, but I can tell you this. She wasn't supposed to survive this delivery, the woman whispers. Someone made sure of it. For a moment, time seems to freeze in the corridor. The stranger's words still echo around Alex like a chilling whisper carved into the walls. She wasn't supposed to survive. The sentence keeps twisting inside him as he pushes open the door to Chloe's room, his heartbeat slamming against his ribs. The quiet hum of machines fills the space, and for the first time since the night began, Chloe's eyelids flicker. Her lashes tremble gently, the faintest sign of a fight she never should have had to face alone. Alex steps closer, his breath catching when her eyes, still clouded with exhaustion, lift weakly toward him. She searches his face, her expression soft but confused, as though she's trying to remember where she is, who he is, what happened. The pale light falls across her brown skin, making her look impossibly fragile, and guilt claws its way up his throat. He pulls a chair beside her bed, not daring to touch her until she gives him some kind of permission. She inhales shakily, and he leans forward, voice lowered, almost reverent. Chloe, you're awake. Her lips part, but no words come yet. Her gaze drifts from him to the IV lines, the bandages, the bruises. Fear flickers in her eyes, not of him but of everything she just survived. Alex feels the weight of that fear dig into his spine. He opens his mouth to say something, anything, but the nurse quietly steps in, checking Chloe's vitals. Alex steps back, hands in fists, useless fists that did nothing when she needed him most. Minutes pass before Chloe gathers enough strength to speak. Her voice is barely a breath. The babies. Alex, are they? They're fighting, he says quickly. Our boys are fighting, and I'm right here. I'm not leaving them. I'm not leaving you. The sincerity in his tone makes her swallow hard, but she closes her eyes again, overwhelmed, sliding back into a restless half-sleep. Once she drifts off, Alex slips out of the room with a storm in his chest. The stranger's words churn through his mind. Someone didn't want them born. He pulls out his phone and dials the only person who knows his company, from the inside out. His assistant, Ivy. His voice is clipped, strained, barely contained. I need you. Now. No questions. Ivy arrives at the hospital 20 minutes later, her face pale when she sees the hardened look in Alex's eyes. He leads her to a deserted hallway, the fluorescent lights buzzing faintly overhead. Tell me everything, he demands. Everything you've been hiding. Ivy hesitates, fingers trembling as she clutches her tablet. Her usual sharpness is gone. She keeps glancing toward Chloe's room, as though afraid her guilt might seep through the walls. Eventually, with a breath that sounds like surrender, she looks directly at Alex. I wasn't going to tell you because I didn't think it mattered anymore. But someone in the company accessed Chloe's medical files months ago. It wasn't me. I only discovered it last week while reviewing the security logs, but... She trails off, eyes dropping. The access came from someone high level, someone who would usually never be questioned. Alex's entire body tightens. Rage begins to simmer beneath his skin, but he keeps his voice dangerously quiet. Who? Ivy swallows hard. I don't know yet. But they tried to cover their tracks, whoever it was. They didn't want the pregnancy known. and they made sure you wouldn't find out." She lifts her gaze, regret shadowing her features. "Alex, someone used your own company against you." For a long moment, Alex just stands there, stunned and sickened. Someone orchestrated secrecy. Someone sabotaged Chloe's safety. Someone weaponized something as intimate as her medical records, and he had no idea. Not until her life was almost ripped away. His jaw clenches so hard his teeth ache. "Find out who," he murmurs coldly. "I don't care what it takes." Ivy nods rapidly and hurries off, leaving Alex alone in the corridor with the cyclone of fury, regret, and fear he can no longer bury. He presses his palms to his eyes, trying to breathe, trying to think, trying to stay calm enough to do what needs to be done. Every second he stands there, the realization grows darker. Chloe wasn't just unlucky, she was targeted. His phone vibrates. He answers immediately. A man from the NICU updates him on the twins. Stable, but still fragile. Alex thanks him, gripping the phone like a lifeline. He ends the call and steps toward Chloe's room again, the steady beep of machines drawing him in like gravity. But as he reaches the door, a sharp voice echoes down the hall, his own, played back in fragments from memory. She wasn't supposed to survive. No matter how desperately he wants to keep these horrors from Chloe, he knows secrets have already poisoned too much between them. He pushes open the door gently. Chloe is awake again, weaker but alert, and she turns her head as he enters. Her breathing shifts, uneasy. Something in her expression has changed, something uncertain. Her eyes narrow slightly as though she's trying to read what he's hiding. She watches him make a phone call, unaware that she is hearing only a snippet, his voice low, urgent, controlled. "It's worse than we thought." Her fingers tighten around the blanket. Her heart begins to race. She hears nothing else, nothing about security logs or sabotage or investigations. Only worse. Only we. Only thought. Her mind fills the blanks with the fear that has been circling her since she opened her eyes. Maybe the babies are worse than he's telling her. Maybe she is worse than she realizes. Maybe he regrets coming. The uncertainty digs into her chest like a fresh wound. Alex ends the call and turns toward her, but Chloe forces her gaze away, pretending to adjust her pillow. He doesn't notice the tension in her shoulders or the uneven rhythm of her breathing. When he steps out to sign paperwork with a nurse, Chloe's panic finally tips over the edge. Her hands shake violently as she reaches toward the cabinet beside her bed. The moment she spots her bag tucked beneath it, she feels her throat tighten. Leaving is the only way to protect her heart, her babies, and her sanity. She won't wait for another blow. She won't stay somewhere she doesn't feel safe. Not again. She swings her legs over the side of the bed slowly, gritting through the pain. The cold floor bites into her feet. She grabs her bag and starts stuffing her clothes inside, her movements rushed and desperate. She's crying now, but silently, as though even her tears are afraid to be heard. She's barely standing, yet she forces herself to keep going. She won't collapse here, not in front of him. But the moment she reaches for her coat, the door swings open sharply. Alex stands there, frozen at the sight of her, clutching her bag, her face drained, her chest rising and falling too fast. For a heartbeat, neither of them moves. Then his voice breaks through the air, low and urgent, almost pleading. "Chloe, you're in danger." The bag slips from Chloe's hands as Alex steps forward, his eyes burning with a truth she isn't prepared for. Someone wanted you dead, and they're not finished. The car ride was quiet except for the soft hum of the engine. The twins slept in their car seats, tiny fingers curled against their blankets. Alex drove with precision, hands tight on the steering wheel, eyes flicking to the rearview mirror. Constantly, Chloe sat beside him, tense, shoulders rigid, eyes fixed on the passing city lights, her mind spinning faster than the car itself. She wanted to ask questions, to demand answers, but the words lodged in her throat. Every glance at Alex reminded her of betrayal, abandonment, and a future that almost never existed. The memory of the hospital, the panic, the cold truth of the stranger's warnings. They weighed heavy, pressing against her ribs like iron bars. Alex finally broke the silence. "We're almost there," he said softly. The words felt small in the cavernous weight of the night. "It's exactly what you sketched. Your home. Your dream." Chloe didn't respond immediately. Her fingers fiddled with the edge of her sleeve, nails biting the fabric, a nervous habit she couldn't shake. Her eyes traced the skyline until the soft glow of a low-slung house appeared. A house painted in warm cream, framed by ivy creeping up the sides and windows glowing like inviting eyes. Alex parked. The twins shifted in their sleep. Alex turned to Chloe, hand reaching for hers, but she pulled back. Her chest tightened as if the weight of her doubt had manifested physically. "I don't know if I can trust this," she said, voice low, almost a whisper. "You can trust me," Alex replied, steady but with the underlying tension of a man who knows trust is earned, not demanded. "I won't let anyone hurt you or them." "I swear it." Chloe's jaw tightened. "You said that once before." Her voice cracked. The memory of his words at the penthouse, the cutting truth of leaving, hung between them like a storm cloud refusing to disperse. Alex's hand hesitated mid-air, as though reaching for her forgiveness would either shatter or save them. He said nothing. He only opened the car door and lifted the twins carefully. The small weight of them against his chest made him feel everything at once: the power to protect, the fear of failing, the ache of regret that had been gnawing at him since the night she collapsed. Chloe followed silently, carrying nothing but herself, each step deliberate and wary. The front door opened into a warm glow, soft wood under their feet, the scent of fresh linen, the gentle hum of home. Chloe took a step, then another, fingers brushing the walls, tracing the shapes of a life she had once imagined, one she almost gave up on entirely. She allowed herself a small inhale of the air, clean, safe, and alive. Yet even here, shadows of fear lingered, weaving along the edges of her mind. Alex set the twins in their bassinets, watching them sleep, monitoring each rise and fall of their tiny chests. He whispered apologies in low tones, a stream of confessions no one else heard, words of promise and remorse, whispered against the soft hair of his sons. "I'm sorry I left you. I'm sorry I didn't see. I'm sorry I wasn't there." Chloe leaned against the doorway silently, observing her chest tightened as she absorbed every word, every tremor of his voice. She wanted to believe him. She wanted desperately to allow herself to. But fear had its roots deep, twisting, wrapping itself around her heart. The stranger's warning, the hospital ordeal, the threat still lurking. It all screamed, "Trust is dangerous." Night came, folding the house into shadows. The twins stirred, tiny sounds that Alex responded to immediately, soothing, feeding, calming, hands steady. Soft murmurs Chloe watched from her corner of the room, unable to sleep, mind restless. The whispers reached her ears, apologies spilling over, not for her benefit, but because he needed them to balance the weight of guilt pressing on his chest. Each whisper burned her, a reminder of his absence, of how close she had come to losing everything. The days passed in similar rhythm. Alex handled the infants, prepared bottles, changed diapers, bathed them with meticulous care. Chloe tried to relax, tried to believe, tried to allow herself small moments of trust, but the tension remained taut, invisible yet heavy. Every shadow, every creak of the house at night, every passing stranger outside felt like a warning. Then one morning, a package arrived on the doorstep. Chloe noticed it first, a brown envelope with no return address, the paper thick and slightly rough. Her pulse quickened as she picked it up, fingers trembling, her mind racing. Alex appeared from the kitchen, concern flashing across his face. "I didn't order anything," he said. His voice was calm, but his eyes sharpened. "Let me see it." Chloe hesitated. Her fingers pried at the edge, heart pounding faster than she could control. Inside lay a photograph, folded slightly, old and intimate. Her hand froze as she recognized herself, her body months ago, her silhouette unmistakably pregnant, unaware, vulnerable. The image of herself taken without knowledge, without consent. Her stomach clenched violently. Her fingers shook as she unfolded a small handwritten note. The words were precise, cruel, and sharp. "He destroyed you once, don't let him do it again." The ink burned against the page, words designed to pierce, designed to terrify. Chloe's mind raced through possibilities, scanning faces, past memories, the night Alex left, the threats, the hospital. Who could know? Who could send this? Alex stepped beside her, eyes narrowing as he read over her shoulder. The tension between them surged, but Chloe didn't move closer. Her body stiffened. His presence was a shield and a reminder all at once. She turned to him, heart hammering. "Do you know who—" Her voice faltered, throat dry. She swallowed hard. "Do you know who this is from?" Alex's jaw tightened, fingers clenching against the kitchen counter. He said nothing, a storm behind his eyes, his mind already racing through employees, enemies, anyone with access, anyone who could manipulate, harm, or threaten. No one is going to touch her or them. No one. Chloe turned the photo over slowly, trembling fingers brushing against the back. Her breath caught in her throat. The handwriting was familiar, horrifyingly familiar, stirring memories she had buried. Someone she had once loved, someone she had trusted, someone whose betrayal had once shattered her completely. Her chest rose and fell in sharp, shallow breaths. She backed away, hand pressed to her mouth. Her mind screamed, "No, it can't be." Alex reached for her, voice urgent but gentle, grounding. "Chloe, tell me." But she could not speak. The weight of the revelation pinned her to the spot. Her eyes remained locked on the photo as the room seemed to shrink around them. Outside, the wind rattled the windows. Shadows fell across the walls, stretching long and dark, as if reaching inside to touch the fear already alive in the house. The twins stirred in their bassinets, soft murmurs and tiny breaths that made the stakes all the more unbearable. Chloe could feel them in her heart, their innocence and vulnerability amplifying the terror. Her hand hovered over the photo again, trembling so violently it threatened to tear the paper. She recognized the slant, the loops, the familiar curl of letters she once adored, and now feared every memory of love, betrayal, heartbreak, and trust lost came rushing back like a torrent. Alex stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. His voice was steady but layered with an urgency she could feel in her bones. "Chloe, whatever this is, we'll face it, together. But right now you need to tell me." She turned her gaze back to the photograph. Her chest heaved, eyes wide, lips parted in shock and disbelief. The room felt impossibly silent except for the soft breaths of the twins, the hum of the refrigerator, and the pounding of her own heart. Her fingers traced the handwriting once more. Every letter was a dagger, every curve a memory of someone she once let in, someone who had held a piece of her soul. The recognition was absolute, undeniable, bone deep. She staggered back, eyes glistening with a mix of terror and disbelief. Alex's hand remained on her shoulder, anchoring her in place, but he could feel the tremor in her body. He knew she understood the meaning of the words. He felt the weight of danger pressing down on them both, a shadow neither could yet name fully. The photo, the note, the familiar handwriting. It was proof. Proof that someone from her past, someone she thought she had left behind, was back. Proof that the danger she had been fleeing was not just a vague threat, but real, personal, and relentless. Chloe's breathing grew shallow. Her eyes darted from Alex to the photo again, every instinct screaming, "Run. Protect the babies. Protect yourself." Alex's voice softened but carried urgency. "Chloe, we have to be ready. Whoever did this, they're not finished." Her hand shook as she gripped the photo tighter. The twins stirred, small cries breaking the silence. She looked down at them, panic and love colliding in her chest. Her past, her present, and the threat looming ahead converged in that moment. She took a shaky step toward the door, glancing back at Alex, eyes wide. Her mind raced. "I can't stay. I can't trust. I can't protect them if I stay." The note burned in her hand. The familiar handwriting haunted her like a ghost she had once embraced, now twisted into a threat. Every memory of love, every wound, every betrayal she had endured, now pressed against her in sharp, piercing clarity. Chloe turns the photo over and gasps. The handwriting belongs to someone she once loved. Her breath catches. "No, it can't be him," she whispers, fear and disbelief shaking her voice. Chloe's hand shook as she stared at the photograph, the note's ink still fresh in her mind. Her chest felt tight as though the room itself was pressing down on her. Recognition struck her with the force of a hammer. The handwriting, the curve of the letters, the way each loop tilted, was unmistakable. Mara, her sister. Mara, whom she had not spoken to in over a year, whose absence had been a wound she tried to ignore. Her mind raced through every memory, the fights, the whispered betrayals, the last night they had shared before silence fell between them. And now this. Mara was here, reaching into her life again, and the threat was unmistakable. Alex's presence loomed behind her, steady, solid, a stark contrast to the whirlwind in her mind. He had been silent until now, his hands resting on the kitchen counter, jaw tight, eyes assessing, calculating. "I didn't know about this," he said finally, voice low but firm. "I have no idea what Mara is accusing me of, Chloe. I swear." Chloe turned slowly, uncertainty etched on her face. The pain of the betrayal she had survived before, the hospital, the twins, everything, was colliding with the new reality. Then why now? Why her? Why this? Her voice trembled, a mixture of fear and anger. Alex shook his head. "I don't know, but I promise you I haven't done anything she claims, whatever she's planning. It isn't what it seems. I won't let her hurt you. I won't let her hurt the boys." Chloe's eyes narrowed. "How can I trust you?" The words weren't just a question. They were a challenge, a desperate plea for assurance she wasn't sure she could ever receive again. He stepped closer, voice steady but urgent. "Because right now my only focus is protecting you and them. That's all that matters." The room felt heavy, charged with tension. The twins stirred softly in their bassinets, their tiny bodies moving slightly as if sensing the weight of the conflict surrounding them. Chloe's gaze fell to them, and her heart ached with both love and fear. Night descended, bringing with it a darkness that made every shadow seem alive. Chloe could feel it pressing against the walls, creeping along the floor, whispering warnings she did not yet understand. The house, which had seemed so safe, now felt small, confining, a cage where danger could hide in every corner. The first cries from the twins shattered the silence. Alex was instantly at their side, lifting them gently, murmuring calming words as he checked their breathing. His hands were steady, movements precise, every gesture a testament to the nights he had spent, learning, caring, making up for the moments he had missed. Chloe watched, heart pounding, torn between gratitude and a gnawing fear she could not push away. She had wanted to trust him. She had wanted to believe that his promises were enough, But now, with Mara's handwriting etched into her reality, trust felt like a fragile bridge stretched across a stormy sea. Suddenly, one of the monitors began to beep sharply. Alex's eyes snapped toward it, a flash of panic cutting across his usually controlled face. Both twins had developed irregular breathing patterns. "Alex," Chloe whispered, voice tight with fear. "We need to go." "Now," he said, scooping the twins into his arms. The urgency in his tone left no room for argument. Chloe followed, grabbing her coat and moving as fast as she could, her mind spinning with worry. The drive to the hospital was a blur of street lights, honking horns, and Alex's controlled panic. He spoke little, only murmuring to the twins, soothing them, whispering apologies, promises, encouragements. Chloe's hands were clenched tightly in her lap, knuckles white as she tried to control her own panic. Her phone vibrated violently. She glanced down to see Mara's name on the screen. Her heart lurched. Every instinct screamed not to answer, yet curiosity and fear collided in her chest. She swiped to accept the call. "Chloe," Mara's voice trembled, a mixture of fear and anger, and it cut straight through Chloe's chest. "Stay away from Alex. You don't know what he's capable of." Chloe's grip tightened on the edge of the car seat. "What are you talking about?" she demanded. "What do you want from me?" "You don't understand. You can't," Mara whispered, voice low and shaking. "He's dangerous. He isn't who you think he is." Alex's eyes flicked to her, alarmed. "Chloe, hang up. It's a trap. Don't listen to her." Chloe's voice faltered. She wanted to trust Alex. She wanted to believe him, but Mara's words had opened a chasm in her mind, filling her with doubt, fear, and confusion. I don't know what to do." Alex's hand found hers in the back seat, gripping it tightly. "We do this together. I'm not leaving you. Not them. Trust me. Trust me right now." The hospital lights appeared ahead, cutting through the darkness like a beacon. Alex's hands were steady but tense as he maneuvered the car into the emergency entrance. Nurses rushed out, taking the twins from his arms, lifting them to incubators, hooking them to monitors. Every second felt stretched, agonizing. A test of patience and endurance Chloe followed, panic clawing at her chest. She tried to stay composed, to offer calm words, but the fear in her chest was too real, too tangible. Hours passed. The doctors worked tirelessly, adjusting oxygen, checking vitals, stabilizing the twins. Alex hovered beside them, murmuring constant reassurances, whispering apologies, recounting promises, his eyes never leaving the monitors. Chloe stood silently behind him, feeling the weight of helplessness pressing down. At last, Alex turned toward her, exhaustion etched into his face, his hair disheveled, yet a faint flicker of relief in his eyes. He had carried them through the night, kept them alive, soothed them when no one else could. But then his gaze fell to an empty space beside the incubator. His face went pale. His hand went to his chest, as if to steady his racing heart. Chloe followed his eyes, confusion blooming in her chest. Alex's voice dropped to a whisper, sharp with panic. "Chloe!" Her stomach sank. What is it?" He stepped toward her, holding only one of the twins. His face was ashen, voice breaking. "Levi is missing." Chloe's blood ran cold. Her hands flew to her mouth. Her eyes widened, scanning the room, the hallways, the monitors, anything, everything, her mind grasping for logic, for reason, for a way to undo this nightmare. Alex's grip on her shoulder was firm, grounding, but his own body trembled as the reality settled between them. The weight of Mara's warning, the night's terror, and now the absence of Levi pressed down like a storm too heavy to weather. Every instinct in Chloe screamed danger. Every memory, every betrayal, every shadow from the past merged into a singular, horrifying truth. Someone had reached into their lives again. Someone was determined. Someone had Levi. Alex's blue eyes locked onto hers, pleading, commanding, desperate. "We have to find him. Now. No one can stop us." The monitors beeped behind them, silent witnesses to a nightmare unfolding. Nurses were running, staff shouting, doors slamming. Chloe's hands trembled, gripping the hem of her coat as if holding on to herself might anchor her in the chaos. Her heart pounded. Her mind raced. Every thought spiraled, yet she couldn't think clearly. Levi, her baby, gone. And the twins still in Alex's arms felt impossibly heavy, the weight of their shared terror pressing on them both. The hospital corridor stretched ahead, endless, shadowed, alive with possibility and threat. Every second counted. Every heartbeat screamed urgency. Chloe and Alex moved together, side by side toward uncertainty, toward danger, toward the unknown, their lives bound to the fragile thread of Levi's survival. Every step carried them deeper into a night that had no end in sight, a night that threatened to destroy everything they had fought to save. The storm Mara had warned of was here, and the past they thought buried was clawing its way back into their lives with merciless intent. Alex returns from the ER holding only one baby. His eyes are wild, voice breaking. "Chloe, Levi is missing." The words reverberated in Chloe's ears, slicing through the remnants of relief she had felt moments before. "Levi is missing." Her knees buckled, and she grasped the edge of the hospital bed for support. The world seemed to tilt violently, throwing her into a chaos of panic and disbelief. Alex's grip on the remaining twin was tight, knuckles white, but even his control was cracking under the weight of fear. Every instinct screamed, "Find him now." Her chest heaved with rapid breaths, every heartbeat echoing in her ears like a warning bell. Tears pooled in her eyes, blurring the sterile white walls around them. She wanted to scream, to cry out to the universe, to demand that this nightmare be undone. But her voice refused to come. Alex's mind raced, analyzing, calculating, remembering every security measure, every lock, every camera. He refused to allow Levi to vanish into the night without a fight. This was no longer about mistakes or regret. This was about survival, about fighting for the one piece of his life that truly mattered. The hospital staff had stopped moving, shocked by the alarm, the fear radiating from him, the intensity that made everyone hold their breath. Nurses and doctors crowded around, murmuring, asking questions, but Alex barely registered their voices. His eyes were fixed, scanning the monitors, scanning the corridors, scanning every possible exit. Chloe's hand gripped his arm, her knuckles pressing into his coat. Her voice trembled. How could this happen? We were supposed to be safe." Alex's jaw clenched. "I don't know yet, but we're going to find him." His voice was steady, controlled, but each word carried the weight of desperation, the weight of a father refusing to lose his child. They moved toward the hospital's security office. Each step was urgent, heavy with tension, the twins' cries echoing in his mind as he tried to remain composed. Chloe followed, her mind spinning with horror and memories of past losses, of every time life had abandoned her when she was most vulnerable. The security guards swiped them through, eyes wary. And then Alex and Chloe stood in front of multiple screens, showing footage from every camera in the hospital. They froze as they saw it. Levi, small and fragile, being lifted by a woman in hospital scrubs, moving quickly and deliberately toward the exit. Alex's blood ran cold. Recognition hit him instantly. He knew her. A former employee, fired for stealing sensitive corporate data, had been walking among them in plain sight. She had access, knowledge, and motive. His fists clenched at his sides. Chloe's hands flew to her mouth, stifling a sob that threatened to erupt uncontrollably. Her mind spiraled back to every time she had been abandoned, every time someone she trusted had let her down. The feeling of helplessness clawed at her chest. She could barely breathe, trapped between fear for her child and memories of past betrayals. Alex's voice was firm, cutting through her panic. "We can't panic. We have to track her, now." He moved quickly, analyzing every frame of the footage, calculating her route, every exit, every access point he would not allow her to succeed. He refused. Chloe's chest heaved, her tears slipping freely now as the memories of the past, his absence, her loneliness, the hospital, Mara's warning, collided with the present horror. She clutched the remaining twin tightly to her chest, his small body a reminder of everything they were fighting to protect. Alex's mind raced through contingency plans. He ignored the nurse's advice to wait for police. Every second counted. Waiting was not an option. Every moment Levi remained in someone else's hands increased the risk. Hours passed. The hospital descended into a tense silence as Alex and Chloe pored over every detail. They retraced the woman's steps, traced her route, and coordinated with the minimal security staff willing to act at his direction. Each piece of information brought a flicker of hope, but also new dread. Finally, in a quiet, abandoned hallway, Chloe noticed something on the floor. A scrap of fabric, soft, familiar. She picked it up with trembling hands. Alex leaned in, eyes scanning immediately. It was Levi's discarded blanket, the one they had wrapped him in only hours before. Inside, carefully folded and tucked beneath, was a small item, a corporate badge. The logo was unmistakable. Her breath caught, heart pounding. Whoever had taken Levi had access, not just to the hospital, not just to the city, but to Alex's empire. Someone inside his company, someone who knew everything, who had been trusted, who had once been allowed intimate access to his life and his decisions. Chloe staggered back, hands pressed to her face. The past, it seemed, was not done with them. Every fear she had pushed aside returned in full force. She remembered Mara's note, the threats, the warnings. And now this. The possibility that someone from the life Alex had built, someone he had relied on, had turned it into a weapon. Alex's jaw tightened. This isn't random. This isn't chaos. Someone planned this. Someone knew exactly what they were doing. His voice was low, menacing, sharp with controlled fury. Chloe's eyes met his, filled with a mix of fear, desperation, and a fragile thread of trust that had survived this long. Who? Who would do this? Who could? Her voice faltered and she swallowed hard, realizing the implications. Alex's gaze darkened. Someone I trusted. Someone I thought I could count on. Someone who knows my life as well as I do. The room seemed to shrink around them, the monitors and screens fading into shadows as the weight of the realization pressed down. Every scenario, every threat, every past betrayal converged in that single moment. Chloe's fingers trembled, clutching the remaining twin. We can't let history repeat itself," she whispered. Alex placed a hand firmly on her shoulder, grounding her despite his own racing pulse. "We won't," he said. "We will fight, we will find him, and whoever is behind this, they will pay." Together they retraced the steps in their minds, the corridors, the doors, the exits. Each second stretched, heavy with terror. Each heartbeat was a countdown. The security footage played repeatedly in Alex's mind. The woman's face, her uniform, the way she moved with precision and knowledge. He memorized every step, every gesture, every detail that could lead him to Levi. Chloe, trembling, wrapped the remaining twin tighter, whispering prayers she hadn't said in years. The fear of losing both children, the possibility that the past could claim them now, was suffocating. The hours dragged. Every lead Alex pursued, every shadow he investigated, every whispered rumor brought new possibilities and new dread, yet he refused to let despair take hold. Levi was alive, and he would find him. Then a thought struck him. The badge, the corporate badge. Not just anyone could have placed it in Levi's blanket. It had to be someone with access to his office, his inner circle, someone who knew his routines, his weaknesses, and his family. A cold realization seeped into his bones. The betrayal was deeper than they had feared. This was no random act. This was intimate, personal, and the implications were staggering. Chloe's eyes widened, following his gaze, understanding dawning. Inside, someone from your company? She whispered, voice cracking. Alex nodded grimly. Yes, and the more I think about it, the more terrifying it becomes. The corridors of the hospital seemed darker now, the shadows longer, the silence heavy with anticipation. Every second, every step, every breath was a countdown to finding Levi, or losing him forever. Alex and Chloe moved together, driven by fear, desperation, and a shared determination. Every instinct, every memory, every ounce of love and anger propelled them forward. The storm of betrayal, the return of past mistakes, the threat looming from within their closest circle, it all converged into a singular, inescapable truth. Levi was alive, but someone trusted with their lives had turned into their greatest enemy. Every plan, every calculation, every careful move Alex had made in building his empire now seemed fragile, inadequate against the threat that had struck at the heart of his family. Chloe's mind raced through Mara's warnings, the photo, the note, the handwriting. Could Mara be involved, or was this something separate, something even darker? Her chest tightened as panic, fear, and anger collided. Alex's voice cut through the swirl of thoughts, calm but icy. We find him. Whoever did this, I will make them pay. And Chloe, we will not let history repeat itself. The hospital corridor stretched ahead, dimly lit, alive with unseen threats. Every step forward was a step into danger, but they had no choice. The clock was ticking. Levi's life hung in the balance. Someone inside Alex's empire ordered the kidnapping, and the prime suspect is someone Alex once trusted with everything. The revelation hit Alex like a bullet. Someone inside his empire, someone he had trusted with. Everything had betrayed him. Every plan, every carefully constructed strategy, every relationship he had nurtured in the company suddenly felt hollow, tainted by deceit, his fists clenched, teeth grinding as he thought through the implications. He stormed into the private office, a place he had once regarded as sacred, a command center of loyalty and precision. Carter Hayes, his second-in-command, was there, sitting in the leather chair, hands folded, a calm mask masking everything Alex already knew: guilt, arrogance, and the satisfaction of someone who thought they had outsmarted him. Alex's eyes blazed. "Where is Levi?" His voice was low, tight with fury, every word a weapon. "Where is my son?" Carter leaned back, smirk curling at the edges of his mouth. "You mean the one you're too blind to protect?" His tone was mocking, dripping with contempt. "He's safe, for now. But I'm afraid timing is everything midnight approaches, and with it, your little angel disappears." Alex's jaw tightened, blood pounded in his ears. The rage that had simmered in the past, the betrayal of Mara's involvement, the kidnapping, it all coalesced into a singular need: find Levi, save him, and make the man responsible pay. Carter's smirk widened, sensing the storm ready to break. "You never should have gotten involved. Alex love makes you weak. Commitment makes you blind. And now your little family is dangling by a thread." Alex's fists shook, but he forced control. Rage was fuel, but fury without plan would accomplish nothing. He stepped forward, voice low and icy. "You're going to tell me everything: where Levi is, who you've worked with, every detail, every plan, every step, now." Carter laughed softly, a sound that echoed in the office like nails on a chalkboard. You think a few threats, a few words, will make me spill. You've never understood loyalty, Alex. I've dedicated myself to this empire, to its growth, its dominance, relationships, emotions. They are distractions, and I did what needed to be done to ensure you remained detached, fully committed, unencumbered by love. Alex froze for a moment, understanding the scope. This was more than a kidnapping. This was personal sabotage, manipulation, years of planning designed to strip him of emotional connection, to make him a ruler of his empire, not a father, not a man. Chloe's voice cut through the tension like a knife. Alex. She stepped into the office, eyes wide, shock and fear flickering across her face. She froze, taking in the sight of Alex, his hands clenched, his face tight with rage, a faint scrape of blood across his temple from the rush to confront Carter. What? What happened? Carter's gaze flicked to her, amused. Ah, the mother of the little treasures. Welcome, Chloe. Witness your perfect, emotional, vulnerable Alex finally cornered. His voice dripped with malice. Chloe stepped closer to Alex, instincts screaming, heart hammering. Where's Levi? Her voice trembled, fear slicing through every word. Alex's eyes were cold, burning with resolve. He knows. He knows everything. And he will tell me. Carter. Now. Carter leaned forward, enjoying the tension, the fear, the chaos he had orchestrated. Why rush the inevitable? Don't you want to savor this moment, Alex? To see how your precious family suffers while you realize that your loyalty, your love, your emotions have all been used against you. Alex's patience snapped. He advanced, every movement calculated, controlled. He could see Carter's confidence, his smugness, and he knew the key to saving Levi depended on breaking that mask, stripping the arrogance, forcing the truth out. You've underestimated me for the last time, Alex said, voice low but resonant, every syllable carrying steel. You think I won't fight for my son, for my family, for Chloe? You're wrong. Carter leaned back, smirk unwavering. Oh, I think you'll fight. That's why this is the perfect lesson. You see, your love made you weak, and now that weakness has a timer midnight transfer. Chloe's blood ran cold at the words. What? What is he talking about? Alex's eyes were fixed on Carter, sharp and calculating. Tell me, Carter. Tell me where Levi is. Every detail. Now. Carter chuckled softly. You think I'll just hand him over? Oh no, not so simple timing, strategy, chaos, all essential to maintain control. Your perfect life, unraveling minute by minute. Alex's rage burned hotter. Carter, I don't care about your strategy. I don't care about your loyalty to the Empire. I care about my son. Tell me where he is or I'll find out myself. Carter leaned forward, smirk widening. Find out yourself. You have 10 hours, maybe less. The baby won't be there anymore. Not after midnight transfer. Chloe's hand flew to her mouth. No, no, that can't be. Panic flooded her, the familiar sensation of helplessness and terror she had felt before the twins were born, before the hospital, before every time the past tried to destroy her world. Alex's fists clenched. He could feel every muscle in his body coiling, ready to strike, ready to break through. The office felt like a cage, each word from Carter a hook, pulling them into deeper danger. Do you understand what you've done? Alex growled, voice barely controlled. You've endangered a life that is mine to protect. You've endangered my family, Carter, and I will stop you no matter the cost. Carter leaned back, smirk unshaken, as if daring Alex to cross the line, to make a move that could have consequences he couldn't yet predict. I like that fire, he said almost casually. You finally see what it means to be truly vulnerable, and now you'll learn what it means to fight without a net, without certainty, without safety. Chloe's knees wobbled and she pressed closer to Alex, clinging to him, drawing strength from his presence even as terror gripped her. We have to stop him. We have to save Levi. Alex, please. Alex nodded, jaw tight, mind racing through strategies, recalling every escape route, every ally, every resource at his disposal. Carter's betrayal had exposed vulnerabilities, yes, but it had also ignited a fire that would not be extinguished until Levi was safe. Carter's smirk faltered ever so slightly at the intensity in Alex's eyes. The rage, the desperation, the calculated control. It was a force Carter had underestimated, just as he had underestimated Chloe's quiet strength, her determination, her refusal to be paralyzed by fear. Every moment now was a countdown. Every second carried Levi closer to danger, closer to the unknown. Alex could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on him, the desperation coiling tighter with each tick of the clock. Chloe, still clutching the twins, whispered, "Alex, we have to move. We can't wait." He nodded, voice low, icy with determination. "We move, we find him. And Carter, you'll pay for this." Carter leaned back, smirk widening once more, but his eyes flickered briefly. A crack, a hint of awareness that the storm Alex was about to unleash might destroy everything he had built. The office, once a symbol of control and order, now felt charged with tension, every shadow alive, every second a countdown toward Levi's fate. The clock ticked relentlessly, each chime echoing like a drumbeat of dread. Alex's mind raced through every scenario, every possibility, every potential location where Levi could be held. He mapped them in his head, calculated risks, planned contingencies. One thing was certain, there was no margin for error. Chloe's hand gripped his arm tightly. Fear, love, desperation, and hope collided within her. "We can't fail," she whispered. "We can't lose him." Alex's gaze hardened. "We won't. Levi is my son, and I will stop at nothing." Carter smirked, leaning back, almost enjoying the chaos he had orchestrated. But the fire in Alex's eyes was undeniable, unstoppable. The battle lines were drawn. Carter smirks. "The baby won't be there anymore, not after midnight transfer." The night air was thick with the scent of salt and rust as Alex and Chloe raced toward the industrial docks. The sky was an obsidian black, pierced only by the harsh glare of sporadic floodlights, casting long, menacing shadows across stacks of metal crates and shipping containers. Every step was measured against the pounding of their hearts, a drumbeat of desperation. Chloe's breath came in short, sharp gasps. She clutched the twins tightly, one in each arm, their small bodies bundled against the cold. Her mind was a storm of terror and adrenaline, memories of the hospital, the kidnapping, and Carter's betrayal crashing through her in relentless waves. Alex moved ahead with a precision honed by years of strategy and instinct. His hand gripped hers tightly, a silent vow that they would not be separated. Every fiber of his being was focused on one thing: Levi. The fear of losing him again sharpened his senses to a knife edge. A distant, plaintive cry cut through the night. "Levi." The sound sliced through the dark, and Alex's blood ran cold with relief and urgency. "There," he hissed, pointing toward a shadowed container. Chloe's head whipped in the direction, heart pounding violently. "Levi," she whispered, voice trembling. Every step toward him felt like walking on a wire stretched across a canyon, the abyss of fear yawning beneath them. Suddenly, figures emerged from the shadows, armed men, their faces obscured, blocking every conceivable path forward. The night had become a cage, the sound of metal boots against concrete, the cold glint of weapons, and the unyielding glare of their eyes told Alex that this would not be simple. "Stay behind me." Alex barked, positioning himself between Chloe and the threat. His shoulder absorbed the first hit, a sharp pain shooting through his arm, but he did not falter. Every muscle tensed, a coiled spring ready to strike. Chloe's instinct surged, panic and fear transformed into a fierce determination. She shifted the twins carefully, using the moment of distraction to lunge toward one of the men, throwing a crate in their path to buy precious seconds. Her heart raced, but there was no hesitation. Every fear melted into a singular, blazing purpose: protect her family. Alex fought forward, parrying blows, absorbing strikes, his focus unshakable. Each second was precious, each heartbeat a countdown. He could see Levi, small and fragile, tucked against a steel crate, eyes wide with fear, reaching for him. Chloe's defiance became a weapon. She screamed, shouted, and threw anything she could reach, drawing attention, buying Alex the narrow path he needed. Every gesture, every act of courage was fueled by love and desperation, transforming her terror into strength. The chaos around them blurred. Shots were fired, ricochets echoing off the metal containers. Sparks flew where metal collided. Shadows twisted and shifted in the harsh light, every movement a threat, every breath a gamble. Alex reached Levi, scooping him into his arms with trembling hands. Relief and determination collided in him, sharpening every decision. "I've got you, buddy," he whispered, voice low but steady, though every word trembled with raw emotion. Chloe ran to Alex, eyes wide, clutching the other twin. The distance between them and Levi collapsed in a heartbeat. The family, fractured by danger, was reuniting, yet the threat was far from over. Suddenly, a loud siren shattered the night. Police vehicles appeared at the perimeter, their lights strobes of red and blue. Cutting through darkness, Mara had intervened, recognizing the true danger of Carter's plan. The sound was both relief and tension, a promise that help had arrived, yet signaling that the fight was not yet complete. The armed men hesitated, caught between flight and confrontation. Alex's eyes met Chloe's, a silent understanding passing between them. One final push, one final surge of determination, and they could reclaim what had been taken. Alex stepped forward, using Levi as a shield, without a hint of hesitation. He engaged the nearest attackers with calculated precision, moving through chaos like a force of nature. Chloe's courage mirrored his, her movements unpredictable, fierce, every action a statement of defiance. The twins cried, fear mingling with relief, a sound that fueled their parents' resolve. Each step forward brought them closer to safety, yet every shadow hinted at danger. The night seemed alive, a predator circling, waiting for the moment to strike. Alex's shoulder throbbed from the earlier blow, but he ignored it, pushing onward. Adrenaline masked the pain, his focus absolute. His mind ran through contingencies, escape routes, and strategies, ensuring Levi would not be lost again. Chloe moved beside him, steady despite the chaos. Fear still gripped her, but it was tempered with determination. She would not let history repeat itself. She would not allow Carter's manipulation to claim their child. The sirens grew louder, the armed men's resolve faltering as the reality of law enforcement presence sank in. Each step Alex and Chloe took was a step away from darkness, toward hope, yet the threat of violence still lingered, unpredictable, immediate. Alex ducked behind a container. Levi cradled close, assessing the remaining threats. He noticed a shadow moving to flank them, another assailant faster than anticipated. Without hesitation, he moved, intercepting the man with precision, disarming him, and neutralizing the immediate danger. Chloe's hands were steady, though her chest heaved. She threw herself into the chaos, ensuring the other twin remained safe. The night demanded courage, demanded focus, demanded the kind of determination only love could fuel. The final armed men, recognizing the arrival of the police and the fury in Alex's eyes, began to retreat. Floodlights cut through the shadows, illuminating every corner. Every threat, Alex and Chloe pressed forward, reclaiming the ground they had lost to fear and manipulation. Finally, they reached the dock's edge, where police officers secured the area. Levi clutched Alex's neck, crying softly, eyes wide but safe. Chloe hugged Alex tightly, pressing the remaining twin to her chest, feeling the pulse of life, love, and relief. For a moment, silence fell, broken only by the distant sound of the waves and the faint cries of the twins. The danger had passed, the immediate threat neutralized, yet the night had exacted its toll. Alex's body sagged against the railing, exhaustion and blood loss catching up with him. The adrenaline that had driven him through the fight began to fade, replaced by weakness that made his limbs tremble. Chloe's eyes widened in terror as she saw him falter. She dropped to her knees beside him, hands gripping his face, cradling him as if holding him could keep him from slipping away. Her voice trembled, raw and desperate. "Alex, stay with me. Please, don't leave us. Don't leave me. Don't leave Levi or Lucas." He smiled faintly, eyes glazed with pain, but managed a whisper. I'm right here. I'm not leaving. Not again." Her tears fell freely, mingling with sweat and blood, as she held him tight, unwilling to let him go, unwilling to believe that they could survive this night without him. The police and emergency personnel rushed forward, but Chloe barely registered them. Her world narrowed to the man before her, bloodied but alive, and the twins safe in her arms. Every thought, every heartbeat, every breath was a desperate plea to the universe. Let him live. Let this nightmare end. Let their family survive. Alex's fingers twitched in her grasp, faint but real. His eyes fluttered, meeting hers, conveying a lifetime of apology, love, and determination. The fight was not over, but the victory, their reunion, was tangible, fragile, yet real. Chloe pressed her forehead against his, whispering frantic promises. She felt his pulse, weak but present, a lifeline connecting them through the storm of blood, betrayal, and terror. The dock, once a place of shadows and fear, now felt impossibly heavy with relief. But the trauma of the night clung to them. Every movement, every whisper, every heartbeat reminded them of how close they had come to losing everything. Alex's breath was shallow, labored, yet steady. The twins, sensing the change in tension, curled closer to their parents, small fingers gripping, small bodies seeking comfort, safety, and warmth. Chloe's mind raced with gratitude, fear, and lingering panic. The battle had been won, but at what cost? The adrenaline faded slowly, replaced by the sobering weight of blood loss, exhaustion, and the near brush with tragedy. As emergency personnel guided them to safety, Chloe refused to let go of Alex, unwilling to release him into anyone else's hands. His life, their family, depended on this fragile, tenuous moment. Every shadow of doubt, every whisper of betrayal, every echo of danger was still present, but the immediate threat had been neutralized. The night was theirs, if only for now, and the family had been reunited, fragile and battered, but together. Chloe cradles him, screaming as his eyes close, "Alex, don't leave us again." The world had never felt quieter. Weeks had passed since the docks, since the night that had almost torn their family apart. The chaos, the fear, and the relentless terror had been replaced by something fragile and tentative. Peace. Alex's eyes opened slowly that first morning, blinking against the soft light that filtered into the hospital room. The twins, Lucas and Levi, slept quietly in their bassinet, unaware of the storm their existence had weathered. Chloe sat by his side, exhausted but unyielding. Every breath she took was steeped in relief. His hand twitched against hers, small movements that confirmed he was alive, real and still hers. The blood loss, the pain, the fear. It had passed, leaving only raw vulnerability. Alex's voice was hoarse, barely a whisper. Chloe, I... His words faltered, the weight of guilt and gratitude pressing on him. I... I can't believe I'm here, with you. With them. Chloe's tears fell silently. You're here, she whispered. You're alive, Alex. That's all that matters. That's all that ever mattered. The hospital faded behind them as days turned into weeks. Slowly, Alex regained strength, relearning how to walk, how to hold the twins, how to breathe without every moment punctuated by fear. Chloe watched him, awestruck, as he became more than the man she had once loved. He became the man he had never dared to be, vulnerable, devoted, entirely human. Their home, the sun-drenched, cozy sanctuary they had fought to claim, became a haven of healing. The walls held laughter, small victories, late-night feedings, and whispered apologies that built a foundation of trust stronger than any contract Alex had ever signed. One evening, the sky stretched above them, a canvas of stars mirrored in the quiet lake beyond their porch. The air was cool, carrying the faint scent of earth and flowers, the promise of renewal. Chloe and Alex sat together, the twins asleep in their shared nursery, their tiny chests rising and falling in peaceful rhythm. Chloe leaned against Alex, her head resting on his shoulder, her hand brushing his across his lap. The past lingered, memories of betrayal and abandonment that had cut deep. But tonight those wounds felt less sharp. The night was theirs, unbroken, yet the weight of old words demanded confrontation. I still remember, Chloe said softly, voice steady despite the tremor beneath it. The night you told me that you loved the idea of me. Not me, I've carried that. Every day. Alex flinched slightly, the memory of his own cold, detached words stabbing at him like a blade. I was a fool, he admitted, voice raw. I thought love was a liability. I thought walking away made me strong. But I see now I was weak. Weak for thinking I could control everything without heart, without you, without them. Chloe's eyes glimmered, reflecting starlight and the flicker of hope. And yet, here we are, together. Alex turned to face her fully, hands taking hers, gripping gently but firmly. I can't undo the past, Chloe. I can't erase the pain I caused you or the fear I put in your heart. But I can promise this. I will spend every day, every breath, proving to you that I am worthy of your love, of our family, of this life we have now. Chloe searched his eyes, seeing the man transformed by trauma and responsibility, by sleepless nights, by the delicate care of tiny hands gripping his fingers. He was no longer the ruthless CEO who abandoned his heart for ambition. He was a father, a protector, a partner reborn through pain. I see you, she whispered, trembling. The man you've become, not the one I left, but the one who stayed, who fought, who came back to us. Alex's thumb brushed her cheek gently, a silent vow of devotion and protection. I'm here. I'm not leaving. Not now. Not ever again. They sat in silence, the only sound the quiet night and the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. Peace wrapped around them, fragile yet profound, a gift earned through fire and fear. Chloe leaned closer, pressing her forehead to his. I love you, she murmured. Not the idea of you, not the man I wanted. I love you, Alex. The one who saved us, the one who stayed when it mattered most. Alex closed his eyes briefly, savoring the weight of her words, the warmth of her presence, the miracle of family restored. I love you, he said in return, voice low and steady. I always will, and I will spend every moment proving it. The twins stirred in their sleep, tiny hands reaching for warmth and comfort. Chloe and Alex looked toward them, eyes softening, hearts swelling. Their future was fragile, but it was real, it was theirs, and they would guard it with every ounce of strength they had left. The night deepened, stars winking overhead like silent witnesses to their redemption. Alex stood, carefully lifting Chloe into his arms as they walked toward the house. Every step was measured, deliberate, a symbol of the life they had fought to reclaim. As they reached the porch, Chloe set the twins down gently, tucking blankets around them, and stepped back to take in the quiet night. That's when her eyes caught a small envelope lying near the railing. No stamp, no sender, only a message written in careful, deliberate handwriting. She bent down, hands trembling slightly as she picked it up. "Alex." Her voice was quiet, unsure, but the instinctive fear settled in her chest. He leaned close, noticing the paper, his instincts immediately alert, eyes scanning the shadows beyond their property. "What is it?" Chloe's fingers unfolded the envelope carefully, revealing the note inside. Her breath hitched as she read the words. "Not all debts are paid. You'll hear from us soon." The calm of the night shifted instantly, tension threading the air. A hint of danger lingered beneath the starlight, a promise that the battles they had survived were not yet finished. Alex's jaw tightened. "Then we stay ready," he murmured, determination burning behind his eyes. "No one threatens this family. Not now. Not ever again." Chloe nodded, pressing her hand to his chest, feeling the steady rhythm of his heart beneath hers. The twins slept soundly, oblivious to the weight of words, the promise of challenges yet to come, yet entirely safe in the fortress their parents had built. The night stretched on, heavy with unspoken promises, with vigilance and love intertwined. Every shadow seemed to flicker with possibility, every rustle a reminder that even after redemption, vigilance was a necessity. They stood together, a family scarred but unbroken, hearts beating in unison, ready to face whatever darkness lay ahead. The past had forged them, the present had healed them, and the future would test them yet again. But for now, in the quiet of the porch, under a sky full of stars, they were whole. For the first time in years, they could breathe. They could hope, they could love without reservation. Alex wrapped his arm around Chloe, pulling her close as they gazed up at the sky. The twins, nestled safely under blankets, were the living proof of survival, of courage, and of the love that had defied every obstacle. Chloe leaned into him, voice soft, almost a whisper. "We made it, Alex. We're here. Together." He kissed her forehead gently, the touch full of reverence, gratitude, and the weight of everything they had endured. "Together," he echoed. The night held them, wrapped in a fragile serenity, as if the stars themselves bore witness to their triumph and their new beginning. And yet, in the shadow of that serenity, a subtle unease lingered. The envelope's message was a whisper of unfinished business, a threat that promised the world they had fought to reclaim was never truly safe. Chloe and Alex stood there, hands entwined, hearts steadying, the future uncertain, but their bond unbreakable. For tonight they had each other, and that was enough. As they walk inside, Chloe notices an envelope on the porch. No sender, just a message. "Not all debts are paid. You'll hear from us soon." A subtle, chilling hint that their story and danger was not entirely over, leaving the door open for a sequel.